Good afternoon. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast here at J More Living. I'm a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. Those of you joining us live today, drop your questions into the comment box, and I will check from time to time. You'll see me sort of take a look over here on the screen and see what's going on. Today's guest is Colleen Worthington, who, along with her husband Gary, in their retirement, she was 50, he was 52, decided to open a bakery. That's Kneaders Bakery. That was over 25 years ago, and now are opening up their 50th Kneaders Bakery and Cafe, covering 50s Kneader. I didn't find out where exactly which one of the states, but the Kneaders bakeries and cafes are in Utah, which was the home state, Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Nevada, and Texas. Recipes, stories, four-color photos are the heart of the commemorative cookbook just released called Kneaders Bakery and Cafe, a celebration of recipes and memories. I'm going to just do this, and you see this little thing in here, color photographs, just gorgeous. Look at this. All right, I can't turn all the pages for you. We don't have that much time, but it's Kneaders Bakery and Cafe, 25 years, a celebration of our recipes and memories, and our guest is Colleen Worthington.
Hi.
Hi, Colleen. Nice to meet you. Other than doing the show, what's on your plate today?
Well, I've got a grandson who just had knee surgery, so I'm taking him over a peach shake today. I'm going to go down at lunchtime to one of our stores that's close to the house and cheer them on and have some good lunch.
Well, that sounds great. And you have one of your grandchildren, one of your great-grandchildren. Let's explain that you have 6 children, 5 girls, 1 boy.
Right.
22 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren.
Well, when we wrote it, it was 9. It's 11 now. Those grandchildren come faster and faster. Those great-grandchildren.
That's fabulous. And everything you write about in this book is about family and what a family you have. You and Gary retired. You were 50, he was 52, and you were retired for about 8 years. Why in the heck did you decide to open a bakery? There were a lot of other things that you could open that would be a whole lot easier. I mean, Gary had to be up at 52. You're baking in the middle of the night. You're not their normal office hours. So why a bakery?
You know, I think that we came from families that loved good food. And Gary's mom and grandma always baked 3 times a week the bread for the family. And so we had that interest. And so, interesting story, we applied to a bread franchise to join that. And they said, oh, no, you're way too old. And you have way too many kids. So obviously, they don't know us very well because we have a lot of determination, even though we are older, and our kids have been the biggest asset to the bakery of any other people that possibly could have helped us. So, you know, you get tired of going fishing, playing golf, just doing superficial things. But to start the bakery and be back in business again, and have influence on people and be able to help young people and help other people, it's a wonderful thing. So I think we did it out of joy for loving other people.
But I'm sure when you and Gary opened that first bakery, you never thought that there would be 49 and a half. There's one getting ready to open bakeries across 5 states.
I asked Gary that question the other day. Yesterday, I asked him, did you know? And he said, well, I was hopeful, Colleen, that there would be. I was hopeful.
Well, he graduated with a degree in business and finance, didn't he?
That's right. That's exactly what he did. And then he went on to get work on his master's degree in public administration.
And yours was in family and nutrition,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clothing and textiles, food and nutrition. Yeah. It was child development and human relations.
Well, with 6 kids, I'm sure you put it to practice. One of your sons, James, is now the CEO, and his wife does research and development. Have all family members worked in Kneaders?
Yes, every single one of my kids have worked in Kneaders. My oldest daughter, Laura, married a dentist. The first day we opened, I called Kurt on the phone and said, "Hey, Kurt, we haven't programmed the computer, the cash register yet. Can you hurry on down here and program this cash register for us?" And it happened to be his day off. And he stayed that day and worked for us, helped people at the front counter. And weeks later, people said, "Where was that really cute guy you had that was running cash register?" We said, "Well, he's working on some dental work for a person right now. He's a dentist." But our daughter Laura would come down and make baskets for us. I have 2 other daughters who are married to doctors. They've even helped us out. So my son-in-law Brad says he's the biggest Kneaders fan there is, and he is such a fan. And our other doctor son-in-law, he goes out and eats places, and then he critiques it and sends us back. "You ought to do this. You ought to do that. You ought to do this." They're now all back home now. They all went away for their educations, and they're all back home now. And then I have the 2 children, James and Amy, that are working in the company right now. Amy has a big role in all of the development of our recipes, and also she has a role in training people in the stores. And then, of course, James is the CEO, and then our daughter Tammy, who they lived here for a while, and they worked as cash register people at the very beginning, and then they went away to the University of Michigan to school, and then came back and joined us. And now Dave is the CEO, and he's in charge of development.
So, is everybody back in Utah?
Yes, I have all my children back in Utah. The one that lives furthest away is a 40-minute drive.
Okay. You just released the commemorative cookbook, Kneaders Bakery. That it's more than just recipes from the bakery. Can you tell us more about the book? I know it was a labor of love, and I showed you're not stingy with color photographs. Tell me about the evolution of the book and what you wanted to create in the book.
Well, we started about 7 years ago on the cookbook. And we took a lot of the pictures then and a lot of pictures since, and they are beautiful. Kudos to our photographer and his wife. They are amazing. But when we started out, I wanted it to be a book of Thanksgiving. So just all these nummy, wonderful recipes. So when we have Thanksgiving dinner, all of the aunts bring their very best dishes, right? And so we wanted the cookbook to be all the very best dishes at Kneaders. And so the other thing I wanted to do is give thanks to all of the people who have helped. Our family has been a huge part of it, but there have been lots of other people along the way that they have become part of the Kneaders family by sharing their talents and recipes with us and encouragement.
One of the people that I thought was interesting, because Kneaders obviously gives back. It's an important portion of what Kneaders does in each city to be part of the community and assist and help out. There was Gladys, is that how you pronounce her name?
Yes.
Tell a little bit about the story there. I thought that was interesting, and the pies in the truck.
Okay. Well, Gladys came into our store one day and said, "What do you do with your day-old bread?" Because we don't sell 2-day-old bread. We want the customer to have as long as they possibly can, that it'll be fresh and good for them. And so we just aren't selling day-old bread. And we said, "Well, what should we be doing with our day-old bread?" And Gladys said, "You should be giving it to me." and I will take it down to the Four Corners area and give it to the people that live on the Dye Reservation there. And they are hungry, they are poor people, and they could really use this bread. And so she took the bread down. We had a loaf of rye bread, and it is a rounded loaf. And she came back and said to us, the Dye people think they call it their kneel down bread because it looks like them when they're kneeling down to thank God for their blessings. And then over the years, we did packages for them. We did all kinds of things that we sent them with socks and gloves. And we had a dance at the university where people could get in by bringing 2 pair of clean socks or 2 pair of brand new socks. And we just would send all these things with Gladys down there. It became a really special thing for us. So one Thanksgiving, we had a bunch of pies that were left over. And so my husband called Gladys on the phone and she said, do you think that your families would enjoy some cream pies and some pumpkin pie? And Gladys said, oh, they've never had that. They would absolutely love it. So Gladys came up and she thought it was just going to be like 10, 15 pies. And Gary had her whole back of her truck loaded before she left, full of pies. When she got to the reservation and started to pass them out, they opened the pie boxes up and said, oh my goodness, what's this? Somehow they had got loaded in upside down. And so what a mess. And they all were just looking in bewilderment. And so she said she went to the grandmas of the tribe and said to the grandmas, taste it, because if you like it, everyone will love it. And so they scooped it up in their hands and they put it into their mouths. And the grandmas were saying, oh, that's so good. That's delicious. And so then all the little kids ran and got the upside down pies and started scooping with their hands and just loving the pies. It's always been such a good relationship with Gladys.
I thought it was very interesting. And basically, she was from the Navajo tribe, but they pronounce it is now called
Dye.
Dye.
Dye tribe, yep.
Yeah, okay. So let's see. I have a couple questions here. Okay. Well, let's go with not having access to your bakeries being East Coast. Would you say Panera is a direct competitor or a similar operation?
I'd say that Panera used to be more like we are. As they have changed ownership hands, they have gotten so that they're much more concerned, I think, about the money of it all. And it is not the most profitable thing to bake fresh bread in your store every day. You've got to really want to do it. And so I think right now, we would advise people, whenever I'm in that situation, when I'm out, I eat a Panera bread. I do. And it gives me a lot of pause for thought and makes me think we need to stay true to who we are and keep baking bread in every store and keep baking our pastries all fresh every day. But I'm sure that there are things they think we could do better. So I have some love and appreciation for them. But of course, they're a corporate-owned store now. And so I'd say to those people back east, hey, we have an online store. You can go online and buy a lot of our things from the online store. We can't send you a sandwich, but we can sure send you a loaf of bread.
Yeah. And to tell everybody, that's Kneaders.com. It's very simple, Kneaders.com. And all the information and links are up in the comments section. Another question, is there one product you make or one special, something you do that keeps people coming back time and time again?
Well, we are pretty famous for our turkey bacon avocado sandwiches on focaccia bread. We make a special signature sauce called Kneaders sauce, and it's served with fresh vegetables on it. And we do hand-roasted, slow-roasted, hand-pulled turkey every day in the store. You can't beat fresh turkey. I mean, do you know how good turkey tastes on Thanksgiving Day? Well, every day it tastes that good at Kneaders.
I would go insane. The smell of like roasting chicken and turkey, the aroma is
Oh,
more intense to me than anything else. I remember being in Paris and, the street markets, and they had the rotisserie chicken, and it was like 7 a.m. and all I wanted to do was to eat that chicken, aroma, turkey, love it all. Um, Kneaders, let's talk about, you have award-winning recipes such as rosemary focaccia bread, chunky cinnamon French toast, flourless chocolate torte, artichoke portobello soup, raspberry bread pudding. There's a total of 180 recipes in the book with tips in it and nice little stories. Um, that's become a thing for me and a lot of people. It isn't just, you can go online and get a recipe, but to know the story behind it is important. In doing the book, that's 180 recipes. That's a lot of recipes. Was there one that ended up on the so-called cutting room floor that maybe you wish was in there?
not for me, but I've had a lot of people say, "Is this recipe in it?" Raspberry cream cheese pie. Oh, not this time, maybe another cookbook. Pumpkin bread, which we are so famous for, not this time. But there are so many really great recipes. We couldn't put them all in. A lot of the recipes were limited time offers that we did in the store. We do a lot of those because we like to mix it up and not always have the same thing. I can't think how boring it'd be if we just only had turkey, bacon, avocado sandwiches and that was it. And everybody on the crew loves chicken, cheese, and ham. So we've got to have a little bit of something for everybody. But yeah, there are things that we didn't share this time. And
Okay.
there are things that probably we'll share another time.
Well, there are certain things that people can find at the website or in the book. I was just curious because um, sometimes you can't get everything in that you want to get in
Right.
just because of spacing and how the book lines up. And I'm going to ask a question that might sound stupid to most people, but to me, I have a question. You have muffin top recipes
Yep.
in the book, but it's really a whole muffin.
It is. It's big, but it's just the top. I mean, it spreads out all over it. You can take a, a bun, like a hamburger bun pan, and you bake the muffin in a paper in that pan, and it comes out to be very wide across the top. So you get all that nice crispiness and all that streusel or whatever's on top of it. And then you get about an inch of the cake or bread
Base.
of it. Yeah.
So it's not a muffin pan that you use. So you use okay.
A hamburger bun pan. Amazon has them in like 4 different sizes. So pick your poison there.
Like I said, I was trying to read it, and I guess I missed you said to get a hamburger bun thing. I'm going, well, if it's going in a muffin pan,
Wouldn't it be a muffin? Just
right. But then again,
well, Seinfeld came out when Kneaders came out, and they talked about their muffin tops. And I don't know if you remember, and they just cut them off, and she'd throw the butts away, she called them, and keep the tops. And so we thought, well, we can come up with that muffin top.
I'm trying to think the actress, Anne Hathaway, how she eats a cupcake. It's just a little bit different. She takes the cupcake and she takes off the top and she turns the icing in the center and makes a sandwich out of it.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's amazing how much trivia I pick up off of reels on Facebook, something along those lines. At this point in time for you and Gary, are you involved at all in the day-to-day with Kneaders?
Well, this is how my day goes at Kneaders. I go into the store and have breakfast, and I'll walk through the store that's closest to my house here, which is our original store, and say hello and look into the eyes of all the employees and make sure everybody's doing okay and try and cheer them on.
Okay.
I go down and talk to the guests. A lot of times, if we're busy, I'll carry food out to them and stop at their table and talk to them for a few minutes and hear their Kneaders story or their story of what they're struggling with right then. So we cheer a
Yeah.
lot for our kids. They're in really prominent positions in our business, so we do a lot of cheerleading.
Well, that's good. That's good. And it's good that you had something to give them a format to show their talents. And they all found their niche within Kneaders. I'm curious about your expansion. You were in Utah. What what was the next state that you went to? Because from Utah to Arizona, you know, to
Well,
Texas.
it's very strange because our first stores in Arizona were in Yuma, so kind of an unlikely spot. But my sister and her husband had been with us at Subway and had run some of our stores at Subway. And he had become a doctor, and he was an ER doctor in Yuma, Arizona. And they said, please let us open a Kneaders. And they wound up opening 2 Kneaders in Yuma. Very successful stores. In the cookbook, you'll see some of the recipes of Dawn's and Linda's in the cookbook and things we did in the store, like the holiday nut bar. I had an opportunity to go down to Yuma and do a cooking class. And while I was there, the lady that had been his helper in the ER, he has since passed away, but who had helped him in surgery and helped him in the ER, she was the person who had given that holiday nut bar recipe to us. And it was so fun for me to get to meet her.
Yeah.
Our stores down in Yuma do so well. And so that was our choice to go down to Arizona, was because of our involvement with them.
I didn't know if you used a company, because there are companies that find locations for businesses. If you had done that, or if it was people approached you, a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. At first, we started franchising. And so we went where franchisees wanted to be. And about 5 years ago, we decided that probably wasn't what we wanted. We were looking at the success of people like In-N-Out and people like Chick-fil-A, who are more wholly owned or owned by the companies, and decided that way we would have more control over what went on in the stores. And so we bought a whole bunch of stores back, 40 stores. And then COVID came. What a great time that was. We were really fortunate during COVID, though, because we had drive-through windows in all but a few of our stores. And so we were able to stay open in most all states, at least through our drive-through windows. And that really saved us. But yeah, we decided we would buy those stores back. So a lot of those locations were from franchisees that we had.
I was curious. And just to explain, you said Subway. Before Colleen and Gary retired, so that they had to be open on Sundays, and because of their religion, they would not be open on Sunday. So they retired, and henceforth, here comes Kneaders. I'm just trying to see if I'm missing anything. I thought I had a pretty good list of notes here. Okay, let me come down to the questions that you usually ask at the end of the show.
Okay.
What was the best bite you had all week?
Well, we were invited to do a lifestyle show here in Utah on television. And we made our very first apple pie. It's called grated apple pie. And that was the very first pie we ever made at the bakery. We made about 6 cents, but my favorite for sure, because you get a whole, just big, huge bites of flavor of apple, because it's just solid grated apples mixed in with some other things. And I tasted that again and thought, oh, that is so, so good. We should still be doing that. But we use special apples that are called cane apples, and they don't store well in cold. And so they're only like 2 or 3 months out of the year that you can even get them. And so that's why we turned away from them. But man, those are good. And man, that's a good pie.
Well, people can still make it. I was looking at the recipe. You use two different types of apples in it. And I thought that was interesting, rather. Yeah, I could see sort of grating it and doing that. Yeah, sounds good. All
Yeah,
right.
we
If
got those
you,
from our apple grower friend, those two substitutes. So it's good.
yeah, if you can go back and give your 18-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh, when I read that you might ask that question, I have fretted over that like you can't believe. I've asked everybody I've known and ever, and I said, what would you say? But when it comes down to it, I think the thing I'd say is believe in yourself. I think there are so many 18-year-old people, me included when I was 18, that just was wide-eyed and I didn't believe in myself and didn't know the possibilities that were there for me. And so I remember once my dad used to tell me when I had a problem, he would say, think of all of the possibilities, Colleen, and write them down. And so he wanted 50 ways to solve this problem. And then he'd say, now cross out 10 that you know you won't do. And he'd get me down to three possibilities. And then he'd say, can you think about those and see what feels good in your heart? And then work really, really hard to make that happen. And so I think believe in yourself and work really, really hard to follow your dreams and include other people and be nice to people. You just never know
Here,
when you're going to meet that person again. And you never know the possibilities and doors they're going to open. And you don't know how you can help them. And there's great joy in helping other people.
here. All right. Your epic culinary fail. We've
Um,
all had them.
this is sad. It was at the beginning of our business. And we were trying to learn all we could about European hearth breads. And we were baking it in our house. And of course, you need a hearthstone oven to bake hearth bread. So we thought we had rigged it all up in our kitchen and we were trying so hard. And it was like 2 days before Thanksgiving. And I decided I needed to inject steam to get that big punch and make it rise. And so I squirted water in my oven. And sure enough, it got on the coil and killed my coil. Could I get that replaced before Thanksgiving? Absolutely not. But it was always a great adventure with the hearth breads. We had these big, huge buckets of different kinds of flour that we were trying. And one time my grandson, who was 4 years old, came and we left him in the room where the flour was in the buckets and he was very quiet. And all of a sudden we went in and he had made it snow all over the house. We had snow everywhere, which of course was the flour.
Right.
And dad was pretty unhappy, but grandma could have a snowball fight with him and we could have some fun with it. But when we tore that house down to build the house we live in now, we found flour everywhere.
Sure, I'm sure. Okay. If you wake up tomorrow morning with a new talent, what would that new talent be?
I said to my husband, what should my new talent be? And he said, well, Colleen, maybe you could just have the brilliantness of the best marketing person in the whole entire world. I was thinking more like, could I sing or play the piano?
He's always thinking business. That degree is always working
for me.
And what didn't I ask you that I probably should have?
Boy, you've been pretty thorough. I think that maybe the thing that we haven't really talked about is the joy in people. And we've kind of talked about it, but it is probably a guiding light for me. So at the store, my biggest thing is we thank graciously every single person who came into our store today, and we care and love them. I had a lady who came in once and she looked, oh, so sad. And she was standing at the back of the line and I went back to her and I said, are you doing okay? And she said, yeah, I went to chemo today. And I thought to myself, the thing I'm going to do is I am going to go to chemo. And if I can last through it, it's my last chemo, I am going to go to Kneaders and get chicken noodle soup. And I said, wow, what an amazing blessing for us that we get to have people who we can bring joy and happiness to.
That's wonderful. It really, really is. Colleen, I want to thank you so much. Wish you continued success, joy with the family. I want to pull it up again, everyone, and can be ordered online. You can actually go to Kneaders.com and check them out, order some bread, order the book, and just stunning, stunning photographs. I don't know, what am I ending up with now? I just grabbed a page. Here we go. There we go. Sandwiches. Yay. Maybe it was the muffletta on the bread. I can't think of
Yeah,
the bread name.
muffletta. Yeah.
Yeah, I love muffletta. Um, thank you so much. The best of the holiday season. And thank you again for being on the show. And I will make sure you get some links fairly soon so you can use them and send them to all your Kneaders fans.
Thank you. It's been such a joy to get to know you better. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. Let's see. The food tidbit of the week. I have so many notes here. I keep scotch taping them all over the place. The food tidbit of the week. If you are enamored, love all things food, let me recommend these 6 podcasts because that's what I listen to all the time. I enjoy music, but the podcast, it keeps me walking, keeps me dancing. So these are my food related podcasts that I listen to. Number 1, The Splendid Table. Number 2, Inside Julia's Kitchen. The Sporkful. Talking with My Mouth Full. Cooking with Bruce and Mark, and Bruce is a former guest on the show. And Christopher Kimball's Milk Street. If you have favorites, let me know. I don't know which ones I'm missing, but they keep me entertained, informed. So grab one of those and give a listen. Next week's guest is Sarah Moulton, and I am her #1 fangirl. Sarah Moulton is the host of public television Sarah's Weeknight Meals. The season 12, I believe, is just coming out on public broadcasting this month, so check your stations. She is a protege of Julia Child. Sarah was the founder of the New York Women's Culinary Alliance, executive chef of Gourmet Magazine, food editor of ABC's TV's Good Morning America, and the host of several well-loved shows on the Food Network. Sarah is the author of several several cookbooks, including Sarah Moulton Cooks at Home, Sarah's Secrets for Weeknight Meals, and Sarah Moulton's Everyday Family Dinners. And in March of 2016, Sarah released her latest book, Sarah Moulton's Home Cooking 101: How to Make Everything Taste Better. A cookbook and teaching manual aimed at making readers more confident and efficient in the kitchen. Sarah is a regular contributor on every one of Christopher Kimball's Milk Street podcast, and that's an award-winning podcast. So tune in next week and you see me go all fangirl on Sarah. Monthly, J More Living is giving away $50 gift cards to some of your favorite local restaurants. Visit jmoreliving.com/contest to click on it and enter to win. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at food@jmoreliving.com, or Instagram is at Dara Cooks. All shows are immediately archived in video form on J More Living's Facebook page and jmoreliving.com. Feel free to dig into our video archives of past shows. We truly appreciate it when you share our show with friends and family. May your plates always, always remain full. Thank you, and we'll see you next Thursday.